In this month's 12 Town Hall, we are looking ahead to the next season and continuing to look at the impact of the pandemic on our restaurant industry in Rhode Island. We have a great panel of guests this month. Joining me on this Zoom Town Hall is Bob Burke, the owner of Potiphar Restaurant in Providence. We also have Dino Passaretta, the owner of Vonda Restaurant in Warwick, and Matt Sheaf. He's the Director of Communications with the Rhode Island Commerce Corporation. We appreciate you joining us. I want to begin first with our two restaurant owners. Let's get a quick recap of how the summer months went, and we'll start with you, Bob.
Used a lot of suntan lotion, no water fire, no conventions, no college kids, no theater. The city was quiet. We did not have outdoor dining. We only had curbside, so it was a very quiet summer in the downtown.
All right, what about you, Dina, at Vonda?
Well, we were fortunate that we did have a little curb outside of Vonda, and we set it up for tables, and it was very popular with guests. So we did really well for the summer at that one location.
Okay. And what about you own more than one restaurant, so what about your other location?
Well, the other locations, the three in Providence, are all closed due to, obviously, like Bob said, no conventions, no PPAC, no water fires. They're closed due to hotel occupancy also, because they're all three in hotels. So we've been just waiting.
All right, so Matt, you have some information about just how well or not well these restaurants fared over the summer months. So what do you have for information from the state?
So we've been studying the situation very carefully, as you can imagine. And the latest data that's come in has said that since the depths of the pandemic started in April 2020, so far Rhode Island has gained back over 23,000 restaurant-specific jobs. And listen, there's still plenty of pain out there, but when you look at Rhode Island compared to our neighboring states, we are the second lowest in our region for the number of job losses in the restaurant industry. There is so much pain out there, and we need to get everyone back to work. But luckily, we're one of the states in our region that are allowed to be most open in this industry, and we hope we can advance that into this next season.
Anecdotally, though, Matt, I'm sure you've heard from restaurant owners about the struggle, especially for restaurants that couldn't do outdoor dining. So what are some of the things that you heard about the summer months from some of these restaurant owners about that pain that you mentioned?
So we've been hearing that it has been challenging, but we've also been heartened that a lot of restaurants are getting creative and looking at new ways to maybe run their business models. So for example, I know the Providence Convention Center had their typical restaurant week, but they did it a little different this year. They had restaurants that wanted to do packaged options to go, or there's been restaurants that have wanted to use maybe state parcels of land for more space. And so I think the name of the game this summer has been being creative, and there's been some great examples of that across our state.
All right, so now that we are officially wrapping up the summer months and the outdoor dining season is still existing, but there's a concern, with the colder weather, what's going to happen? Dino, I know you have some tables outside of Vonda, so realistically, how long do you think you have to continue outdoor dining successfully?
Possibly a few more weeks. I'm not doing the heaters. I'm not really going to try to stretch it. I don't want to do the dining where people have jackets on. We're going to try to change up and try to do more of we do a lot of to-go business there, so we're going to try to amp up on that and do prepared foods that you can actually take home and cook at your house.
That seemed to be the case for some of these restaurants back in the spring. Bob, let me bring you in. You hear Matt talking about people getting creative. So what are you trying to do to be creative in downtown Providence when you have all of these challenges?
Well, the word that our word is safety. We developed a checklist of dozens of things. We know that the virus can be spread through the air, so we're dealing with our HVAC. This one little unit, they're all very expensive, has a filter. It has a charcoal filter in it, and then it also has a HEPA filter, the kind they use in hospitals, and then a fourth level of protection. We're getting electronic ionization, which is killing the virus. We're using UVC germicidal lights. We're using N95 masks for our staff. We're using white glove service. So we've got dozens of these. And then when it comes to contact, we know that's another way that you can spread. This particular fabric, which is brand new, protects surfaces for 90 days and kills microbes after they're touched. So these are going on anything a customer could touch, door handles, faucets, flush, whatever it is, they're going on. So our byword is keep our customers safe, keep our employees safe. And we don't want to hear the words knock it off. We want to do a great job of this. We want to overdo it, not underdo it. And we really want to make people in Rhode Island understand that they can come indoors, it can be safe, and the restaurant industry is getting creative and using the technology.
So Bob, I mean, obviously that comes at a cost to add all of this equipment, this safety equipment and these protocols at your restaurant. Not every restaurant can do something like that.
Well, I think the answer is that you have to invest in people being safe. Otherwise, we're all going to be shut down in the long term, and we don't want that. So my plea to other restaurateurs is invest the money. It is thousands of dollars. There's no question about it. But compared to the price of one of your servers getting sick or one of your customers getting sick, we're talking about people's health. And when it comes to that, that's money well spent by any business, anytime.
All right, Matt, I want to bring you back in for a moment here. You know, recently we talked about this state money that was being put out there. I believe it's $1 million for restaurants to apply to get some money to get heaters, et cetera. I mean, 81 restaurants, I believe, was the number applied. And when you do the math, that's only what, like $12,000 or so per restaurant. A lot of these restaurants need more than that to have these, you know, safety protocols or equipment or the heaters. I mean, so what do we do to further help these restaurants as we're approaching fall and winter?
Sure. So there's a couple different options that I'll hit quickly. You're right. The governor set aside $1 million for her Take It Outside initiative. Yesterday at her press conference, she said she's open to do even more. It wasn't 81 restaurants that applied. It was 81 municipalities or associations. So, for example, I know the Providence Convention Center Visitors Bureau has an interesting proposal to do a type of lending library with heat lamps and outside lighting. So there is those funds. But I want to encourage every restaurant out there to apply for the Restore Rhode Island grant program. It's the $50 million small business grant program. It's up to $15,000. A lot of restaurants do receive that max amount of money. There is no cap on the number of employees you can have. We've streamlined the process. We want to get everyone through that and get them funded. There's been over 400 restaurants have already received these grants, and we want even more to apply. So I'd encourage folks to check out that money as well.
Dino, have you participated in any of this to help Vonda along, or your other restaurants? Well, you said they're closed at this point.
Well, the ones in Providence are closed, so obviously the PPP money is not helping by any means, and it wouldn't help. The grant, we're actually moving forward to apply for those grants as we speak. I've been doing some stuff online, which seems like it's becoming a little difficult, though, to be honest with you. It's been a lot of back and forth, like applications. I don't know if they're going to streamline that to make it a little easier, possibly.
Matt, would you care to weigh in on that?
Sure. We actually relaunched our application 2 days ago and streamlined it. So in previous rounds, you had to upload employment documentation, revenue loss documentation. You no longer need to upload those forms. Dino, happy to follow up with you offline and get you through the process.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. And what about you, Bob? What's your experience been like? And while we have a representative from the state here in this Zoom town hall, is there anything that you want to say, any requests that you have, any more concerns that you want to direct to Matt in his office?
Well, we did get a PPP, and we also did get one of the Restore Rhode Island. We were one of the first ones in with that, and I can tell you I'm glad to hear Matt say it's been streamlined because it was a nightmare. It was just unbelievably cumbersome, the process. There was a lack of responsiveness, and that's one of the big things. You know, when you call a business, you get somebody who answers the phone. And one of the things that happens, you call Commerce and you wait and you wait. And there was a lot of confusion, and there was a lot of difficulty. We wasted an enormous amount of time that could have been used to other things. So I know that Commerce is trying hard, and we appreciate that. The big thing I would like to see Commerce start to do is really to try to take a much bigger view of how do we come out of this? How do we get people to move from a city like Boston to Providence? How do we get people in New York who don't have to go to an office every day to relocate to our city? How do we begin to get a long-term strategy going to make Providence successful again and make the whole state successful again? And that's something I think it's hard because we're in the weeds right now, but I think we really need to take that, get our heads up out of the weeds and look at that long view of how do we get back to what we had before.
Dino, I want to bring you back in for a moment here. I mean, you're in a unique situation. You're in a suburban area, you know, this little section of Warwick here. So your challenges are different than maybe like a downtown Providence restaurant. But now that you have a fairly captive audience, meaning that you still have the outdoor diners coming and you still have a relatively good crowd, are you doing anything maybe proactively to market your restaurant for the fall and winter months while you still have the numbers of people coming in?
Yeah, we've been talking to our customers, and we've been trying to see if we can obviously we have a minimal space inside,
Yeah.
47 seats inside. Try to do some type of seatings where it's a 5 o'clock seating, a 7 o'clock seating, and maybe a 9 o'clock seating to maximize the amount of people we can get in there at one time. And then also, really focus on, the to-go business. The to-go business has been great for us. We never really had that. That wasn't a part of our business. We found that, and we made it almost into like a little marketplace, which people can come and pick up some dry pasta or fresh pasta, which we make, sauces that they can use for multiple days. We did a back to school special last week where you got a lasagna that wasn't baked, you had to bake it, cookies, just a typical 4 or to 5 person dinner where you can just put it in the oven, cook it, and eat for a few days.
Well, that speaks to the creativity and to really sort of adapt as you can. I think to sort of like round things out right now, again, this is as we look ahead to fall and winter, we've discussed safety, but what about projections? I mean, what is the real feeling here about how business is going to look in the fall and winter months? Let's start with you, Bob.
We're optimistic. We're starting our indoor dining now. We felt it was pointless to compete with the outdoor, but people are going to want to go indoors. It's going to be a long winter. It's going to be a tough winter. People are going to need to get out. They're going to want to get out. And I think our business will be strong, but I say that in the sense of COVID strong. Okay, it's not going to be anywhere near what it was. The combination of curbside and indoor, we're just looking to tread water. If we can make it through to the summer, we're going to be happy, and we'll look to make money, another day. But right now, the emphasis is on trying to get our people back to work, trying to get our customers a way to get out of their house during the long, cold coming New England winter.
And Dino, what about your outlook for fall and winter?
Well, my outlook is always a little dim because of the location, obviously the amount of people that I can fit in the location. We're going to try to keep our employees employed. We're going to try to keep our head above water and try to, like Bob said, make it to the summer, get through this. And if we can break even or maybe lose a little bit of money and just have people employed and people being safe, then, I think that's successful in this time and age where we're in right now.
And Matt, with the state, obviously you examine numbers all the time and you have projections. So what is your thinking as we move into the fall and winter months for our restaurant industry?
I'm hoping that the trend continues, more people coming back to work, more people continuing to patronize the restaurants. I know the pain is tough, but we have to keep in mind we are one of the most open states, especially for restaurants in our region. Massachusetts just this week is starting seating at bars. We've had that for a month and a half or so, and we want to stay open. We want to stay open for the businesses because they need that to get the revenue in. And it goes back to Bob's point, we have to do that safely in order to remain as open as we are.
All right, any final thoughts from any of you before we wrap up our 12th Town Hall? Any other points you'd like to get across?
Come out to dinner. Please come out to dinner. But when you come, be respectful of our staff, wear your mask. If you're at the table, okay, take it off. But when you're in the rest of the restaurant, when you're going to the restroom, when you're coming in, please be respectful. Please wear the mask. Please be part of the safety. That's what we're asking the consumers for, and they're the most important piece of this right now.
And what about your final thoughts, Dino?
I just want to say thank you for having me, first. Sure. And secondly, I have kind of got a positive outlook on this fall. I think us restaurateurs, we try to find a way to get to anything, so I believe that the people that I've spoken to and our customers have been very, very supportive. I'd like to thank them. They've been great. The people that have come in, they've supported us since the beginning of all this. So I just want to say thank you, and hopefully we got better times coming.
And Matt?
Danielle, I'd just like to say thank you to the business owners for sticking through it. Thank you for keeping me fed, and to the retail who have gotten me larger pan sizes as I've eaten out quite a bit. But for the restaurants who are thinking about applying for the Commerce Grant and might have found it frustrating as Bob did, give it another try. We want to get you the money, so I would encourage you to give it another try. Reach out to us, reach out to me directly, and we'll help you with the process.
All right, gentlemen, we appreciate your time, and we'll be checking in with you in the next few months to see how everything is going. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.